Hello everybody, Damien from Flowforge here. Today I want to talk about connectivity, and I specifically want to talk about making friends and having people and how other people relates to your productivity, because it's huge, actually, honestly. So my first tip for you is whatever you are around is what you're going to mirror, right? And this is how you can manufacture luck, is by basically putting yourself in and around people who are going to elevate you. You can think of people as their elevators. They're either going to bring you up or they're going to bring you down, right? So you always want to be around elevators that are going to bring you up. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't be friends with anybody. You can be friends with anybody, you know. Just be mindful of their influence on you, and don't let people influence you if they're elevators that are going to bring you down. And just being mindful of this is enough to do that. And that's not to say that everybody's like this, you know. Like, not every single one of your friends needs to be, like, chasing success. You know, not every one of your friends needs to be the greatest influence. And some people try to be a bad influence. And so if you're finding people who are trying to be a bad influence, you don't want to be around them. You just gotta cut them off. Being surrounded by people who are doing cool things and have good energy and high momentum it's gonna rub off on you, right? Like, you are your 5 closest friends. What you want to do is you want to try and, instead of stay where you're comfortable, you want to try and get into the room where you feel dumb. You want to try and get into the room where you have no idea what you're doing, where it's like people are talking about stuff that you have no idea and don't understand. And then, just look this stuff up. Ask a lot of questions. You want to try and be in the place where there's entropy and connections happening. People have chemical reactions with each other. It's funny, I've met people where I say they're like the mirror version of me, but like 45 degrees off. And that's really like the optimal type of friendship, is when someone is a lot like you, but they're different enough to challenge you pretty often, but they're similar enough to where they get you, right? So you can have this like back and forth, these chemical reactions with them just like constantly. And that's a huge tip for productivity, is find somebody who wants whatever you want as badly as you do. Start bouncing energy off of each other and body double together. Like, this is going to make you insanely productive. There's a word for this, and we call it genius. But it's just obsession. Genius is just obsession. Like, people who are quote unquote genius, you think like Michelangelo, like painting the Sistine Chapel until his like fingers bleed, like, it's just a lot of hard work. And the reason that people do it is just because they love it. And so this is like the flow state, right? And I imagine that a lot of these quote-unquote geniuses throughout history had ADHD, and they had hyperfocus, where they were just obsessed with something, and they just had that hyperfocus, and they just couldn't stop, because it's basically like an addiction. It was like a healthy addiction, where it was just like dopaminergic, right? And so you want to make work like this. You want to make work as dopaminergic and nice as possible to engage with. So that's another type of connectivity, is connecting with your work environment. You can have a chemical reaction with your work environment. And if your work environment is pretty and makes you feel good and it feels aesthetic, then you're obviously going to enjoy working a lot more. And that's how you're going to get this dopaminergic flow and unlock your genius. But working with another genius is like this on like 2 times speed. Like, you're just going to have like 2 times the power. You're going to be like bouncing ideas off of each other. It's going to be awesome. The thing to be careful with this, you got to be careful, because when you have ADHD, it's so easy to get way ahead of yourself and have like a ton of ideas. So if this other person also has ADHD, then I would recommend watching my videos together and like actually like talk about my videos and study them, because you want to make sure that you're not just like hyping each other up and constantly empowering each other's executive dysfunction, basically, where it's like you're distracting each other from the real work, the real focused work, right? You want to be in a flow where you're both holding each other accountable, and you're both basically adding to each other's real momentum, not perceived momentum, because it's very easy to have perceived momentum where you just convince yourself that you're moving and in fact you're actually doing nothing. Be spiraling forward, not just like spiraling all around like crazy, and not actually getting any work done. And what you can do is, hold each other accountable. Like, this person can also be your accountability partner. You don't need an accountability partner. That's not an excuse. You don't need to find this person to start your work. In fact, it's better that you just start now, so you have something when you meet them, so that when you meet this person, they're not just like, oh, look at this lame, So when you find this person, you're like, oh, this guy's awesome. I want what he's doing, and like I want to be a part of it, and I want to add to it. And this is how you build a team, right? Is by just getting people interested in what you're doing. Another huge boost to productivity is if you have a team, if you have a tribe, if you have people who are all helping each other collectively, then this is just so powerful. Like, there's just so much here. I'm making this video because I recently joined a fraternity. I have to say it's one of the best decisions I've made because I've already made a ton of connections. My ball is just moving a lot faster now. And I feel like I'm having like these chemical reactions with these people, and they're like connecting me to other people, and I'm like around people who are where I want to be, and that's just huge. Like, I'm learning a lot, and I'm happier, and it's just great. It's a great experience. So I actually recommend that you join an online group like this somewhere where people are actually working and doing things. And if you want to join the group that I'm in, I'd love to have you, and I'm sure they'd love to have you. So I'll put a link in the description below if you want to join that group specifically. And I am thinking about trying to schedule like calls there. So if you want to like have group coaching sessions with me, that might be a thing. I don't know yet, but I'm playing with that idea, trying to do group calls for that group. Everything beautiful and powerful in life is a connection. Like, seriously, think about it. Like, all of the energy in chemistry happens from reactions between chemicals. It's when they bond. Like, this is where the power is. You could also argue that like when things break apart, right? But obviously like when something's breaking apart, it just becomes useless for the most part, unless there's like more chemical reactions happening where it comes back together. This is like entropy. Everything is all either growing or dying. Like, there's no in between. Every second, like, entropy is either like destroying something or momentum is making something grow faster. You want to be in a system, you want to be in a group, in an environment that's going to make sure that you don't like spiritually, physically, emotionally die, and just like become overtaken by inertia. Like, an object at rest stays at rest. If you get too comfortable, and this is how people get comfortable, and you might judge people for this, you might see certain people and it's like, how are they okay with living this lifestyle? And it's like, it's just a matter of fact that they slowed down. Like, that's how they just stopped. And then once they stopped, it was too hard and there was too much friction, and you could be in the same boat as them easily. You can avoid this by increasing your desire. The more you desire something, like, desire is a motivation factor, and I actually believe that anybody can just fan their desire like infinitely. Like, you can just put more energy into loving something. Like, love is an action. It's not something that just randomly happens. It's like you can meditatively and purposefully make yourself fall in love with something. And it's through, you have to forge it though. Like, passion is forged through enough positive experience with something. If you're not engaging with the thing, and if you're not like romanticizing it while you're in it, you're not going to have these chemical reactions emotionally within yourself that are going to make these explosive creative moments. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Or like, oh my gosh, I'm in a flow state, right? Like, I used to hate computers, but what changed it for me is listening to breakcore while switching over to Linux. Originally, I had no intention to use Linux. Like, I was just playing around with it. I was basically researching for a product I wanted to make. But just listening to that breakcore and playing around with it, the fact that the UI was something that I customized, like I was having fun customizing the UI, and it was like, oh my gosh, I made a work environment that was extremely aesthetic, highly romanticized, and then I was just like blazing through reading documentation, and like I was a noob at this time, so I was asking AI a lot of time like what I should be doing. I feel like you're always a noob with this thing though. So it was just like that's it just grew it was fanning the desire, and it was making it something intense and cool, right? And so now like I have that in my back pocket. I have this reproducible experience where it's like I start playing breakcore, and then I just start like scanning through documentation, tweaking things, trying to solve whatever problem I'm solving. And this is like how I fell in love with computers, right? And so you're trying to create these. You can manufacture this. You can manufacture this with music. You can manufacture this with tweaking your environment and trying to make a chemical reaction with your desire and your environment or whatever you're doing, right? I'm going to give you another example. Not all work is exciting. So sometimes you just want to make it peaceful, right? Like I was filling out job applications the other day, and the thing that really helped me was just picking a different background for my computer. It was one that was very chill, very just like calm, kind of like this one, and playing like some soothing music and some rain sounds, and just having that playing, that made it almost a romantic process where I was like reading things, and then I was running into these big corporate words, and I was like I was like getting into it though, you know. I was like, oh, that's cool, like I went into like corporate mode a little bit. Just, you know, making things romantic helps a lot. So there's that. Another great thing about connections with people is they make you see yourself. Other people can see things about you that you can't see, that you just have a blind eye to. And they will, you know, if you're in a place where people are holding each other accountable, they will call you out on it. And so that's another thing I really like about this fraternity I joined is, you know, we're open to like just calling each other out for things that are like, hey, don't do that. So yeah, no, it's been really awesome. And I've had friends like this in the past where they've like at just the time I needed it most, just said something, just like to snap me out of it. And I was like, oh, damn, you know, and it just probably saved me like so much suffering or like so much work that I didn't have to do, right? Like other people know things that you don't know, and they know things in a way where it's like they're a repertoire of knowledge versus like a video. Like you can always go out and look up something, but people, like really talking to people, they know things and they know like workflows, and they can give you specifics that like watching a video or studying can't do. So really being around other people is like the most optimized thing you can do productively. Like having a connective mindset. Even if you're an introvert, I'm an introvert, but you know, just reaching out to people, talking to them, trying to make friends, trying to see different perspectives. All these things are going to broaden your horizon and help you create more powerful chemical reactions in your mind and with others, and you're going to make connections with people. And this is one of the factors of flow is complexity. When there's complexity and connection happening, our brains really like this. And so if you have this in a group with high momentum and you're just constantly thinking about like the possibilities, it's going to be freaking awesome, and you're going to be hyped to show up to work on whatever you're working on every single day. And you know, if you're in school, maybe this looks like finding a program in your school. If you're at work, maybe this looks like finding the right people to hang out with in work, right? Being around other people that lift you up makes life so much easier. And you're not going to have to work as hard because they're going to be lifting you up. And you can also lift other people up. And it just creates this like group flow that is extremely powerful. And so I really hope that all of you find something like this, or that you find a genius friend that you can work with, or that you find a culture somewhere that you can join that's going to help you. Again, link in the description for the one that I'm a part of. It'd be awesome if you joined. In fact, you know, if you do, message me and we can become accountability partners. All right, that's all I got, guys. More uploads coming. Life's kind of hectic right now. I'm going to try and do streams and shorts now as well. Uploading not as often. So that's what I got going on. If you like this content, like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Thank you guys so much. Peace.